I had someone not consent on one of my Zooms. Guys, welcome to our Tuesday call. So good to see so many of you here. Yeah, you are Ivana. Ivana, what is the time over there?
Ivana's here. Hi, Ivana.
Cash is here too.
Cat, what's good, bro?
Yes, the crew is here. All right, guys. Well, let's get started. I want to appreciate you all for being here on this. I know we've all been on back-to-back calls tonight, so I love that. You guys all showing up. So thanks again to the squad that had me on earlier. You're here for your double dose of SJ. Double dose. Yeah, it's a good one. All right. So guys, I want to get started tonight. So what we're talking about tonight is around, I've got my agenda here, around the whole paradigm shifting. Okay, if you don't know what that is, we're going to dive into that. Affirmations, why they work and why they don't work, because this has been a good one, but we had a question sent in for that also, which is pretty cool. The logical levels of thinking.
And of course, their questions along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. The logical levels. And I love that Clinton just jumped on, because this is something that Clinton and I, we go through very thoroughly with our Planet Personal Growth workshops, which is cool. So we've got a fair bit to say. There's been a couple of questions that all kind of tie into those things. We had a lot of questions sent in around how, they're just literally waiting for that penny to drop. They're showing up, they're doing the stuff, and just things aren't clicking. And we all know how to deal with that. We're going to talk about that tonight, guys. But along the lines of like the whole affirmation thing as well, Mike and I have a very similar outlook and perspective on the whole motivational talk industry and personal development industry, and how affirmations and just reading them it doesn't really work. There's tricks of the trade. Okay, so I think Mike's going to chime in every now and then. We're just going to kind of bounce off each other tonight, because he's a really beautiful topic. So I think we can all agree. So I want you guys to really, this is going to be, take notes, okay? And don't ask me to repeat anything, because I don't know what I'm going to say. And you'll have to listen back to this, okay? Now, I think and I'm going to talk fast because I'm on my first call this morning, I was like, oh, a bit chill vibes, and then I really ramped it up. Literally me, SJ, I never know what you say sometimes. I have to like watch your calls all over and over again, Cash, because you talk so fast. But yeah, guys, so I want you guys to think about this, okay? We can all agree that no more effort is required to aim big in life, right? To demand abundance and prosperity than it is to accept misery and poverty. Yes or yes? It doesn't take much more effort to think either way, okay? But the difference between the two lies in your level of thinking, right? And the information we're about to share with you tonight. I teach these modalities all the time. But they're really powerful, okay? And it could literally set you free from the constraints, okay, that keep you from really realizing your full potential and keeping you on that hamster wheel, okay? Now, I first learned this stuff when I went to my first ever VIMA convention, and I saw Bob Proctor talk. And when I saw Bob Proctor speak, holy shit, that is when the whole paradigm thing came into me. My whole goal cards were given out, and I've had a goal card till this day, okay? And one thing I really took from that was you cannot be free until you know exactly what governs, shapes, directs your behavior, okay? Then ultimately gives you the results that you've got. Now, I speak from experience. I've had a lot of breakthroughs recently. I've been doing a lot of personal work. I don't know if you guys are into kinesiology. I had a kinesiology session on Saturday, and yeah, my 17-year-old self had a fair bit to say. But, in the work that I've been doing, I've been really realizing in the ways in which I've been sabotaging myself, okay? In ways in which I've been limiting my growth, my success, okay? A lot's come up for me recently, and something we always say is the very person you were when you first heard about this is not going to be the person that is going to take you where you want to be. Okay, it's not going to be the person that will achieve everything you're setting out to achieve. And a lot of the things that we teach is actually based on the premise that your thoughts create your life, right? And if you're not careful, your thinking can be controlled by something called paradigms, right? So paradigms are mental programs, okay, that have pretty much all exclusive control over our habitual behavior, right? They're like the operating system in which our mental processes is run, our mental computer, okay? So your paradigms create the prism through which you view the world, right? And make sense of the world around you. So when information is presented to you, your mind literally runs through it, ticks through it, goes to all little cogs and shit, through all of it. It sorts through it. It already knows all the information, right? But your mind figures out where it fits in the bigger picture, and then it decides if the information that you've just received is good, bad, desirable, undesirable, possible or not possible. Okay, so to achieve the true freedom that you guys are seeking, to achieve that 6-7 figure trading account, to reach chairman levels, you must understand how the mind works. Okay, and since no one knows so many late strugglers tonight, and since so many people don't know, we don't know what the mind looks like, right? So we've got to use our imagination and come up with an image to work with. Okay, so how I want to go about that is I want you guys to picture the mind I'm going to make Anthony co-host. Can you admit these stragglers, please, Ant? Because I'm gonna get in flow soon, and I don't want to be derailed. So when we talk about the mind, right, it's divided into 2 parts: the conscious mind, the thinking mind, and then the subconscious mind. We'll call that the emotional mind, right? So the subconscious mind is your power center. It functions every bit of your, every cell of your body. Your conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject any idea, any information. No person, no circumstance can cause you to think thoughts that you do not choose. When I learned that, when I first heard that, incredibly powerful. And another way to put that is no one can make you feel anything unless you choose it. So when someone says something and then you get really butthurt about it, you're choosing to be butthurt about it. Like you're choosing that. Okay, so the thoughts that you choose eventually determine the results of your life. So the exact place that you're at right now in life, no matter what's been thrown at you, no matter what you think you deserved, and that's a hard one for me to swallow, probably given my upbringing and what I went through, probably a hard one to swallow what Mike went through as well. We did not choose that. Okay, that was the choices of someone else to whatever. But when we're an adult, we need to take responsibility for the choices that we made. Okay, so the exact place that you're at right now in your adulthood, no matter what's thrown at you, was created by your thoughts and by your choices, right? So all pain, pleasure, or limitation, all that information originated in the conscious mind, right? But it was accepted from an outside source. So the things that you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So as you accept a thought, it is then, like, think about a stamp, guys. It's then stamped upon the subconscious mind. And your mind is the larger part of your personality, right? The body is the instrument of your mind. Okay, so your body is the instrument, right? So when your thoughts are impressed upon the subconscious mind, those thoughts are then expressed through you, okay? Because the subconscious mind is everywhere in our body, it's everywhere in our cells. And it's expressed as feelings and actions, right? And then your actions is what's determining your results. So now that you understand how the mind looks and kind of works, it's important to realize that any thought that you consciously or unconsciously impress upon the subconscious over and over and over and over is fixed there, okay? And those fixed ideas are also your habits, okay? And that will then continue to express themselves without any conscious assistance until they're replaced with new habits, okay? So you've been programmed since a very, very, very young age, from your parents, ancestors, DNA, even like generational shit. belief and habits, that can also be generational. So when you were a child, everything that happened around you went straight into your subconscious mind because you had no ability to reject anything, right? So any ideas that you were then exposed to over and over and over again when you were small, they were like seeds being planted in, really fertile soil, right? They took root in your subconscious and became a part of the paradigm that now controls every aspect of your life. Okay. And, we're not taught about paradigms in school, so then we become adults, and then we're 20, 30, 40, 60 years later, we're still living the same life over and over and over again because of our conditioning. Okay, so if you want to learn how to, create change in your life, for you to actually, how many times do you become like, I know so many people that get FTMO and then lose FTMO, right? They get, they've lost it. So if you want to create change in your life and you want to start getting new and different results, you've got to change your paradigm. So who here has heard the thought, the quote, how does it go? Your thoughts create your reality. So when you change your thoughts, the world around you changes, right? You guys know that. That statement is literally, right? Not just figuratively. So you exist as a form of energy. And when you shift the energy that you hold, you automatically move into a new state of being, right? Oh my God, Mike, what just came to mind then when you showed that video imagery of the vibration, and then like all the little things went out and about.
Cymatics, yeah.
Yeah, that's just what like came screaming at me then. So yeah, like
that's the visual way of showing it.
Yeah. So Mike, I wanted to throw it to you there, because after that I'm going to dive into logical levels with you. What is your take on all of that, and into a pragmatic way?
Well, first of all, everybody shows some love to SJ, because that was one of the most, in my opinion, simple but very, very descriptive ways that the physical reality works. It is super key to understand that you are not the creature of your circumstances. You are the creator of them. And the one word that comes down to is the assumption of responsibility. Write that down. The assumption of taking responsibility over everything. Because the simple truth is this: if you say, I am not XYZ, successful, happy, in love, vibrating higher, is because of XYZ thing, parents, car, flat tire, dog ate your homework, literally whatever, then you're right. The person who says they can and the person who says they can't are both right. Now, to take it away from the micro conversation to the individual, because I'm going to really feed off what you just said, SJ, was that not only do we personally create our own physical realities, we are also, again, just like what SJ said, affected by the society and the other people that, of course, we interact with. The specific metaphor that I always use for this is, before 1954, the human race concluded that it was impossible for a human being to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Science concluded that. And that was the thing that was always believed until 1954. Someone was like, no, I'll do it. And then ultimately got to the point where he accomplished it. And then once he personally accomplished it, because remember, he decided he was like, no, it's not impossible, I'll do it. He then decided it became possible. And so ultimately, when he achieved it, the more important part of that is that same year, when that story broke into the world, 600 other people also achieved it that year. And again, remember, a year ago, science concluded it was impossible for it to happen. And then you fast forward to today, that is the standard. If you cannot run a mile in less than 4, and I know, a lot of you guys don't, register miles. It's obviously a different metric system, but it's just the fact that everybody thought it was impossible until somebody decided it was possible. And then not only, of course, achieved it, gave other people the ability to achieve it. And then you fast forward what, 60 years. And now if you cannot run a mile in less than 4 minutes, you're not going to be considered for anything, because again, it's become the standard. My point is that we create physical reality. We are the creators of this physical reality. Whatever is happening, good or bad, is perspective. When we're talking about the actual universe and how, again, this physical experience operates, I'm very, very happy that SJ, I love you so much, SJ, because one of the most important things that she brought up was the five senses: sight, taste, touch, hear, and feel. That is how our brain in this physical space interprets information, interprets what this this mouse pad feels like, what this keyboard feels like, what my shirt feels like, what it smells like, what it looks like, is all interpreted through the five senses. And by manipulation of, again, understanding that you are not just in control, but assuming responsibility of that control, is what's most important. Because so many people will say, I got a ticket because of the cop for speeding. The cop had nothing to do with you speeding, but people will unironically blame the police officer for why they got a ticket, because it's that easy for the human race today, to not accept responsibility over anything. In fact, we're catered to this idea that it's not your fault. It's never your fault, right? Aren't we all Mr. and Miss Perfect in our own worlds? It is so easy to cast blame on literally a million different things. But of course, it will ultimately just come back to the individual. So I was just really, really just want to give you back to shout outs to you, SJ, because that was a really, really good explanation of how physical reality operates. And if you guys don't, I guess, understand what I mean by physical reality, do you guys know of the game, or I guess any video game would work, but let's say World of Warcraft or Grand Theft Auto? They are quite literally different realities that people can plug into with other people and live in a different space. If you can think about that concept and understand that it's true, you can revert back or come out to the macro conversation again. This body is a controller for this physical experience. And just as much as you can manipulate a video game, you can also manipulate this reality. The thing is, though, we're taught against it. And if we're taught against it, because if everybody understands their potential and everybody reaches it, then this is going to ultimately become a waste of time. The metaphor I always use for this, and I'll give it back to you, SJ, after this metaphor, but think about it this way, guys. Is there anybody in here who hasn't played the video game Grand Theft Auto, the older ones, the beginning ones? And playing through the game is whatever, whether you enjoyed it or not, but did you ever use cheat codes? Did you ever do up, up, down, left, over, right, square, 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 and then became invincible? Or immediately spawned whatever vehicle or whatever weapons? For anybody that doesn't understand the reference, it's essentially putting cheat codes into a video game to not die, to do essentially whatever you want. For anybody that has played Grand Theft Auto with cheat codes in, my question to you is how long did you play the game after you put the cheat codes in? You cannot die. You can have whatever you want. There is no limit to what you can do. It got very boring very fast, doesn't it? That applies here. The challenges and the things that we are going through, guys, are asked for by us. Nothing is happening to you. It is happening for you because you are asking for it. That's the thing that, again, nobody seems to want to accept. Like, whatever situation is going on, it is by consequence of what you are asking for. Go ahead, SJ.
The only thing I remember from, I think this is Grand Theft Auto, was I walked past my brother's room and all I heard was, I'm knee deep in zombie shit and no ammo. Is that from Grand Theft Auto? Because that's like my only.
No, that's zombies. It's zombies.
Oh,
Call of Duty Zombies.
is it though? I don't think you'd play that game.
Right, it was on all of the well, not all of them, but most. Maybe not. I have no idea.
Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, that is like the only thing I remember from any of those. I was like,
Stop.
I was a Nintendo 64 kid. So I was just like, and Spyro the Dragon. Oh shit, that was my favorite. The little adventure. Love Spyro. That was me. But yes, so Mike just touched on, and I wrote it down here, you know, how he said we are the creators. There's a really good YouTube channel called We Are Creators. And they have all this pretty epic like audio and things like that. So last week we touched on the logical levels of thinking, okay? And there was a question sent in after the call saying, can you elaborate on that next week? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about here. So I want you guys in your notepad to draw a pyramid, okay? And I want you to draw 6 lines. So there's like 6 layers, okay? So draw a triangle and divide it into 6 layers, okay? Now, and down the bottom, and you're in the bigger one, right? That's our base layer, okay? And this is our environment. This is who you are. So this is where you are, what's around you, including other people. But the fundamental question there is, where am I? What is around me? So if you want to write environment and then write the question, where am I? What is around me? Okay. The environment level is basically the level of opportunities, okay? But it also has external threats there as well. So this includes work, where you live, the people around you, right? The one up from that is behavior, okay? So this is what you do, okay? Continuing upwards, the next level is capability, okay? So if behavior is what you do, then this layer is, this is what you know how to do, what you're able to do, and the skills you essentially have, okay? So your behavior is chosen from your range of skills, right? Just because you have the ability to do something doesn't mean you will do it, okay? And that right there plays strongly in trading, okay? The next level up is values and beliefs, okay? So values is, you know, being what's important to you. It is beliefs being what you believe about yourself, right? What you believe about other people, how the world works. Your values are what motivates you. So if a goal is important to you, you're going to put time and effort into making that happen, okay? They're also the criteria that you use to decide if something is right or wrong. You know, what is my beliefs? What is my values, right? So the fundamental question there is basically, what do you believe? What do I believe? What do I expect? Right? Above that level, we have identity. And this is the level of who you are, your sense of self. Okay? And then the little point at the top, now this is one that's kind of left out in a lot of teachings, but in like the modality that I really love and have studied, the very top point is all about your mission. It's your purpose, right? This is what you are a part of that is more important, that is, you know, not more important than yourself, but is important to yourself. But it's what are you a part of that is bigger than yourself, right? What do you feel connected to? What would you ultimately give up life for? Okay, hopefully it's nothing, but that's this is what I'm saying. Like, it's literally your life purpose, your mission. So for some people, you know, that's religion, right? Some people it's for a political cause. For other people, it's their country, okay? It's their family. Maybe a contribution of all of those. But if there's a gap there and you haven't quite found your mission, or you don't know your purpose, right? If there's a gap, if people haven't been focused on anything beyond themselves and their immediate problems, that's when you get people asking questions like, oh, is that all there is? You know, got reached chairman, what now? You know, got my 6-figure account, what now? Got the Lambo, what now? Right? They've reached a goal that they thought they wanted, and then they've run out of, I hate my brain, but I thought, I'm not reading that out, Richard. You bloody idiot. Hilarious. Okay. So the mission, the purpose point, the very top, That's when people do the whole what now, if they don't have a mission or purpose. They've reached their goal, but they don't really want that. Okay, so you can tell what level someone is operating from by the language they use to discuss problems or a situation that's not ideal, right? So if someone continues to operate on only one level, then their problem or that solution can seem to them like nothing can fix it. It's the end of the world. It's insoluble, right? But if they can change the level, then the problem will change, right? And to break that there down for you, you guys know the same. You can't change or fix a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. That is basically that broken down, right? And the funny thing is, the ironic thing is that every behavior actually has a positive intention. Okay, so this is where I want you to think about your habits, right? Every behavior has a positive intention. Example would be a smoker wants to relax and gets that relaxation out of a cigarette, right? An alcoholic wants to forget about his heartbreak, so he drinks, right? When this behavior does not satisfy the underlying needs, it needs to be then taken to that higher level, okay? So when you're thinking about your goals and what it is that you want, this is where that, you've all heard that have, do, be do, have little situation. It's so misinterpreted. Okay, so I want you guys, when you're thinking about, you know, your goals and what it is that you want, start thinking about who do I have to be in order to do the things I want to then have the things I want. You know, we all hear you can be, do, have anything you want. We hear that every fucking day. It's probably on Susan's fucking bedhead. You know, live, laugh, love, be, do, have. That's what's on her bedhead. Okay. It's cute, but what the fuck does it actually mean? Right? So the exercise to work around that is step number one, you want to determine your actual desired identity, which is the role that you carry on within life, right? You then want to make a representation of this, this desired identity. You know, what does, you know, I'm going to use the word he just because it's there. Think about your outcome, right? That's your goal. Then you want to make a representation of that desired identity. So what does he think? What are his emotions? What's his physiology? What is a person like that who does all those things? What are their strengths? You know, what do logical levels look like in the light of your desired identity? Okay, so once you go through that triangle little modality, think about all of those where you are now, then do another one and think about, you know, who that person needs to be for you to achieve all of those things. Okay, and then live that identity. Because within the logical level of thinking or the logical levels of change, whatever you want to talk about it, there is that model of be, do, have, do, be, right? But for you to achieve the results that you actually want, you know, in trading, you've got the 3 M's in trading, okay? Your method, your mindset, your money management. Right? But if we're thinking about the identity that creates all of those things, or that creates all of that change, it all comes down to the being. Who am I being? So if you have a problem that you're not really solving right now, or you're frustrated with trading, who am I being in this moment? Who do I need to be? Okay, because success in any area of life always starts with a very clear picture of the results that you ultimately desire. If you don't know what the goal is, it is going to be impossible to tell if you've achieved that success or not. You know, that's why we talk about setting goals. Okay, but once we're really clear about what it is that we want, why we want it, the game-changing question is not what do I need to do, but who do I need to be? We always talk about that, right? We talk about what do I need to do to hit chairman? What do I need to do to hit you know, a 6-figure trading account, become FTMO funded? You know, what do I need to do? It's always in the doing, but never in the being. Never in the being, right? So that's where you have to start. So another way of asking those questions is, what kind of person would have access to these kind of outcomes? Okay. So to be a good trader, you've got to master the 3 M's, right? Your methodology, for us, it's smart money. Your mindset, your psychology, and your money management, which is risk management. So an example of this, which is a real life example, is I want to write a book. Okay. I want to write a book, but I know that only 2% of all authors will ever sell enough books to justify the time, money, and energy they've spent writing it? Only 2%. Right, so you could have a best-selling book, but anyone can write a book, anyone can publish it. But I want to be a bestseller type book, okay? So simply doing my best isn't really likely going to deliver the results I want or need, right? I need to find out what kind of person gets their book published, what kind of person gets their book sold out when others are still on the shelf, right? Then I need to ask myself the question, who do I need to be a best-selling author? What kind of person makes it in their field of expertise when how do I say that word? Expertise. Sounds weird. When most people work hard for just recognition or reward, right? What must they believe about themselves? How do they dress? How do they show up each day? How do they speak, right? How do they carry themselves? What is their relationship with money? What is the story that they live out on a day-to-day basis? How do they walk into a room, right? What books do they read? What is their morning routine likely to be? If I can be this kind of person, then I can have the exact same or access to the same results as they do. Okay, so Mike, do you want to add anything in there?
Only if you're done with that part specifically.
Okay, give me a sec. I'll dial like the be-do. Someone just inbox the be-do have thing. So the be, do, have, do, be, right? There's three approaches. This is why it's so misunderstood, the whole be, do, have, right? There's three different approaches. There's the victim, the worker, the winner, right? The victim arranges their life in the order of have, do, be. They say, when I have enough time, I'll do it. When I have enough money, I'll do it. When I've got the support, I'll do it, right? Then I'll do the things that I've always wanted to do. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll be successful. But the problem is I don't have it yet, right? And if I had what that person had, I'd certainly be as successful as them, but I don't have what he has, so I can't do it, right? I can't do it. The victim is always waiting for externals to change before they can then start, okay? The worker.
How much would you say of the human population is the victim?
Oh, fucking 99.99999.
So most, remember that, guys, because I'm going to touch on that. I'm sorry, keep going.
No, go. So the worker then is all about the do, have, be. This person says, the more I do, the more I'll have. You know, if I put in 10, 12, 15 hours a day on here, I'll have it. Like that. The more I'll have, the happier I'll be. The problem is the more I do, then the busier I get, the more there's still to do. And there's still more to do over there. There's more to do in this room. I'm defined by what I have to do. So I become busy. I become tired. I get burnt out, right? The more I have, the more there is to lose. So the harder I work, right? We all know what the link between having more things and being happier is a myth. Right? It doesn't just because you get the Lambo, you'll be happy for a fucking minute, right? Maybe a bit longer, but you get what I mean. The Lambo is not going to give you the true happiness that one is actually seeking, right? And then the winner, right? This is the one that orients their life a little bit differently. They're the ones that go from the be, do, have. They say, okay, this is the be, do, have person. It's not what I do. No way. What do they say? It's not what I do I need to have. Oh my God, what is it? Clinton, if you're there. It's not what, oh my God. It's not what do I need to have before I can start or what work I need to do, but who do I need to be? That's a fucking tongue. Say that 10 times, okay? It's not what do I need to have before I can start or the work I need to do, but who do I need to be, right? So what kind of person would have access to all the outcomes that you're wanting? Then being that kind of person, what would I be doing? Then the having takes care of itself. So the be, do, have, that is the one you want to be. And it's the rarest of the three little lifestyles, the victim, the worker, and the winner. But the winner, the be, do, have, is truly the only one that works. So Mike, go.
Specifically on the victim, because that's why I wanted to point it out. Every one of us, no matter who you are, we have been taught to cater to victim mentality. And this is the real key point, if you guys didn't pick up on it from what I was saying a little bit ago. The assumption of responsibility ultimately does what? And this is the key part, guys. Please listen to this thing. If you feel like something is happening to you, you have no power. You can't change anything because you can't control what is happening to you. The moment that you assume responsibility, you assume responsibility for whatever good or bad is happening. You then have the power to change it. Do you see what I'm saying? A victim has no power because they feel, I'm not, where I want to be because of, and that's the reason why. The moment you do something like that is the submission of you and the ability to change, because it's not your fault. Like, so what can I do about it? There's nothing you can do about it because you're a victim, right? The worker is what most people think is the solution. I want to change my situation, so I'm going to start working 20 hours a day. That's where the folly of that way comes in. Of just in general, when you guys could be working 20 hours a day, cure a lot of the living circumstances or relationship problems or not time problems, but money problems and things like that, you're still not going to find what you want. I can promise you that. Just because you have money doesn't change. I mean, it doesn't change what could or could not be the actual problem in our lives personally. So I can just, that's the problem. Just like what SJ said with the worker, the winner is the person that, again, assumes responsibility, because the moment that you say it's my fault, it then becomes possible to say, well, what am I going to do about it? I can certainly stop acting this way and start doing things another way to achieve a different result. That's the secret power of the assumption of responsibility. It then becomes possible for you to change because you recognize and acknowledge, it's me. I can change me. I can't change any of these other things. I have to focus on me and be that change I want to see in the world. So that's one of the ways that so many different industries cater to this idea specifically. And the one that I do, I mean, can we have the real conversation in here, guys? Like, are we okay with that? As adults, as, people who are legitimately trying to change and things like that, in the sake of the of actual conversation, where the changes need to happen, where most of the change needs to occur, is in the things you think you are unwilling to give up. Because if whatever has you in contempt right now is, again, as we've already discussed, definition of what you believe to be true, what's not true, what's possible, what's impossible. And again, the battle of I guess of this entire concept is really letting go and changing the core beliefs. And for example, I'm not trying to attack anybody personally in here, but have you ever questioned something deeply seated as religion? For anybody who's religious in here, imagine if beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was proven that God doesn't exist. For anybody who is non-religious or maybe atheist, for example, imagine being proven beyond a shadow of a doubt God does exist. Standing on the other side of what you believe to be true or not true is where perceptions change, where paradigms shift. And isn't that what we're looking for here? Because thinking the same way clearly, as we've been saying, and believing the same things is what is keeping you where you are. Does that make sense? So by challenging what it is that you believe and how you operate, how you act, what you think is possible or impossible, or all that other stuff, able to repeat what I'm so sorry, I don't even know when that was asked. Put the chat down here, but it is always the deep-seated beliefs that really, again, create a lot of the, for lack of a better term, slavery to the system. And just like, again, coming back to the Grand Theft Auto metaphor, I really want you guys to understand this. The deception, the Illuminati, the reptilians, or whatever you want to call, and whatever you think of the ominous they, guys, please understand this. They are necessary. You cannot have good without evil. It is not our fault that we are all born and raised in ignorance. It is our challenge. Now, whether you pass or fail that is completely up to each individual. But if, again, the conversation is, I want my life, I want to have all, not just all the money, not all the money, but, I want to have an abundance of money, and I want to have an abundance of time because I want to do this, and drive this and wear this and go there. All those different kinds of things then comes from, it's not an issue of can you do it? It's, are you, based off of a decision that is made, and then every single other decision that comes after that is in accordance with that specific belief. And that's how it changes. That's how behavior changes. If you don't know what that means, let me give it to you this way. Do you or know anybody that is scared of swimming because they maybe almost drowned as a kid? Maybe they had a bad traumatic experience when they were 3, 4, 2, 8 years old, whatever the case may be, where they almost drowned, and then they became scared of the water. So imagine 20 years later in their life, when all their friends or whatever want to go to the beach, but that person doesn't end up going. Why? Because of the trauma that happened 20 years ago. Something that happened 20 years ago is influencing behavior 20 years later. Do you see what I'm saying? You'll make up an excuse to not go at the beach with your friends, not because you don't want to go, but because you're scared. Trauma is what binds you to a certain thing. Someone who is scared of dogs won't get a dog because maybe they were attacked by a dog when they were younger. Trauma is usually the thing that will, again, create habitual behavior, staying away from water, not going in houses with dogs in it, or this or that. It's because of anything that has happened to you. It's not your fault. It's your challenge to audit your beliefs. Do not believe something just because everybody you love, care, and respect also agrees with it. I've had to do that my entire life, and I have realized that, and I'll just make this imposition to you now. We have been lied to in this society. We are not taught the things on purpose. We are not taught to be free thinkers and entrepreneurs and millionaires and all of that, because the system quite literally can't sustain itself with a world full of people who are millionaires. Money completely loses its value if everybody has an abundance of it. So the world systematically would fall apart. So again, the education system, for example, is designed to keep people in the framework that we are all here discussing, trying to break out of. And if you're lost or confused on how to do it, it's because of the things that you don't want to do, not the things that you are easily willing to change or, give up, or any of those. The universe is going to test you on the things that you have always thought are true, that you have never thought to question. It's going to test you on things you don't want to give up or don't want to believe, or don't, to make you physically uncomfortable, emotionally uncomfortable, in order to, again, move the goalpost and shift and change. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, fire. A couple of comments in the chat. Maybe, yeah, agree with all of them. Guys, I want to propose something to you there. Like, what if the gap between where you are right now to where you want to be, the gap is you? So just since we're on the topic of the whole, victim, winner, worker, the be do have thing, what if you're the one getting in your way? What if it's not the problem? Sorry, what if it's not the problem? Yeah, we'll go with that. Is not, the business tools, it's not the system, right? It's not your trading methodology, but simply your ability to be the kind of person who needs to consistently apply them. Like, I want to challenge you with that. What if, our business model, solid as shit, right? have you seen the comp plan? I mean, come on. But your ability to show up, to show it, is what's stopping you. So could it be that your internal game is the thing that's most impacting your external results? Right? Have you ever thought to even, if this is for the new people, I know seasoned people would do this, but if you're new to this trading space, there's a reason we say trading is 90% mindset, 10% skill. Because have you ever contemplated the fact that all of your personal doubts, your fears, your limiting beliefs, your insecurities, your unresolved on your ability to show up, do you think that's impacting your external results that you're actually wanting? Because we've got to stop saying, you know, if I do this, 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 and this, I'll get it, right? We need
Can
to
I add something?
Yeah, go.
It's not going to take a long time. Just it's more of a simple question. Guys, let's just pretend for a moment that I am the best trader in the world and I have the best strategy ever made. And you follow me every single day. In fact, you learn my strategy. Do you honestly think that by definition of you knowing and understanding that strategy, that anything is going to change in your life? You can have the best tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use the tools, it is completely irrelevant. If I put you on a $50 keyboard and you don't know how to play piano, you're going to sound terrible. If I put you on a $300,000 grand piano, you're not going to all of a sudden somehow play better just because you're on a more expensive or a better instrument or a tool. So again, so many people like to think that, oh, I need the right strategy, the right broker, this and that. I explain this all the time. Even if I grant you those things, again, do you honestly think about the logic there? I need to learn how to trade because when I learn how to trade, all of my problems are solved. Let me grant you that okay, sure. You do know how to trade. You do know how to look at the market and determine a buy or a sell. And again, let me even grant you that you have a 90% winning success trade rate. You do understand that it only takes that 10%, or you could win 9 trades in a row and lose the 10th one and wipe out all progress of those previous 9 trades. So a 90% winning success rate in trading, by definition, means nothing. It's the individual. Sorry, SJ.
Don't be sorry. It's true. It's true. Like we all think that, you know, once I become FTMO, I can do this. I'll be king of the world. Doesn't mean shit if you.
Yeah, your account balance is irrelevant.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't mean like shit all unless you can shift the identity and become who you need to be to maintain that. It's like what we talk about the financial thermostat all the time. You know, tax time, guys. What do you do when you get your tax back? I mean, I know you guys are probably smart, but the average person, what do? Just because I have money, I'm going to go spend it. Low financial thermostat. Okay, that's another conversation for another time. But in summary, with all of that, you need to have an outcome in mind, know what you want to have and achieve, that clear vision, right? Work out how to do it, the actions you need to, the action steps is what is the how to do. But then you need to be and start being and living the identity of who you need to be to do what needs to be done to get the result that you guys are wanting. Okay. Now, one of our questions that we were asked was affirmations and why they work and don't work in relation to sometimes we have like our affirmations on our charts. I know a few of you guys, you know, I'm a whatever trader, I am this, I'm emotionally disciplined, these types of things. Here's the thing. I love when people, you know, they're in their trading plan, and I'm going through the trading plans, they've got all their affirmations in there. But honestly, who just sits there and they've got, this is what people do. Okay, there you go. I am a successful trader. I am emotionally disciplined. I shouldn't laugh, but it's what they do. They just read it, right? You've got your list of 10 or so affirmations. They're on your fucking board over here, like mine are over there. And you're reading them every day. But the thing is, there's no emotion behind it. Okay. And if you're just repeating statements to yourself, but you're not finding a positive feeling, then you're not giving them any power. Okay. Now, I believe in affirmations, but it took me a while to understand how to use them, how to properly use them. I'm just, for me, learning how to use them was mirror work. It was standing in front of the mirror naked and telling myself, I'm worthy. I love myself. And locking eye contact with myself in the mirror, talking, and of course, I'm lying to myself because I don't believe it, which is why I'm fucking doing it, right? But I did it, and I changed my posture. I first did it with clothes on, and then I was just like, nah, fuck this. Like, hate myself, I'm getting my fit off. So I stepped in front of the mirror, and I'm standing there, and I started crying, guys. That's when I knew that I had then tapped into the state that I needed to do to shift what it is I was trying to shift. Okay. So if you're just repeating those statements, the problem is most people, they affirm negative statements with a negative emotion to themselves all the time without realizing it. And that's why you keep experiencing what you're experiencing, and you're not calling in what it is you want to call in. Right. So for example, for that is, I'm so broke. I can't do that. I'm broke. I've got no money. Can't afford it. I hate having no money. Can't afford my membership this month. Bills are really tight. Whatever, right? When someone keeps saying things like that to themselves all day, they're feeling pretty crappy and helpless about that, right? And when they're saying that, what they're doing is it's just strengthening their belief that they have no money, that they can't afford their membership this month, that they've got this coming up, this, right? Their own behaviors and actions is going to keep them in line with those affirmations and those feelings. Okay. And yes, it is still an affirmation, even if it's negative and unconscious. Okay. Before I started trading and doing these calls, I could not say conscious and unconscious properly. That's my biggest takeaway for me.
I remember.
I could not say it going through those bloody.
It was so yeah, the 4 levels. It was so funny to hear you try to do it.
It's my biggest takeaway from Trade House. Learning how to say words I once struggled with. So basically, you need to feel a positive emotion as much as you can when you are saying your affirmations. So when it comes to affirmations, sometimes you don't believe it because it's so far from your current identity, your current reality. Okay. So if you don't completely believe that it's attainable, or if it makes you focus on how far you've got to go to get that, then it's not going to feel good. You might say, one of my things was, I got a whole journal of affirmations, right? And I remember so vividly, I wanted to write, I have lost 10 kilos, right? This was one of my affirmations. And even though that's a positive statement written in present tense, it would keep that I have lost, it kept reminding me that I needed to lose weight, which did not make me feel good, right? So something better was, I am feeling more comfortable in my skin. It feels so good to be comfortable and confident in my skin. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? It's the same with money. You don't just say, I am a millionaire. I am a 6-figure trader. 6 times a day if you've got $10 in your fucking bank account. Okay? That's just going to keep reminding you that you're not a millionaire. So say something like, I give myself permission to prosper and grow. I am open to multiple income streams. I have the power to now create the success and build the wealth I desire. Okay, so hopefully now you understand that little change in just your words can make a really big difference. But the most important thing is to focus on how you feel when you say the affirmation, right? If it doesn't make you good, try a new one, right? Another thing that, may not be working for you is, with the affirmations and you don't feel good when you're saying it, maybe it's because you don't truly want the desired result. Can you repeat that again? So sorry if I cannot, I don't know what I said. And what I mean by that is many times I've said affirmations for a goal that I actually didn't honestly want. And because of that, I didn't feel excited about them because I didn't really care about the result. And that's why I never got what I was trying to do, right? So for example, I did actually used to have a goal of wanting a Lambo. Ever since I went in Brad Alcazen's Lambo,
It's probably the perfect example of social conditioning
100%.
because everybody wants a Lamborghini.
Yeah, 100%. So I used to have this goal of wanting a Lambo, and I would create affirmations to help me manifest this goal, right? The problem was I didn't actually desire a Lambo, right? I had it as a goal, as that's what I thought success was at the time. You know, I wanted Lambo status yesterday, right? I now like realize that I don't actually want a new car, right? Never mind. What's the word I'm looking for? Never mind. No, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I didn't want a Lambo, right? I don't even want a new car. Because at the minute I'm truly happy with the car that I own, it's a really good car. That makes me happy. And it's the same with money. If I had a goal of earning, $500,000 a month, probably because I'd seen others have goals like that, social conditioning. So it took me a little while to realize that I didn't want some of the things that I thought I wanted as my goals. So when I sat down and honestly thought about it, what I wanted was actually freedom. That was what I wanted. It wasn't the Lambo, right? It's none of that. And that right there is the reason why you have to question your why 7 levels deep to find your true why. Okay, because trading affirmations are great. They can fully empower you, right? They can keep your mind calm under pressure if you want it to be. If you believe the phrase, you are what you think, right? Then you can then that alone can definitely impact your trading results. Okay, because if you speak negatively of yourself, if you say, just can't fucking get it, I just can't fucking get it, I'm getting on all the calls, nothing's clicking, what's happening for you? Nothing's clicking. So it is really good to get into the habit of positive self-talk with trading affirmations to keep your mind focused on the task at hand, right? Because the markets always have a surprise for you. So you need to be able to calm your mind and stay focused on your trading process. You need to be able to stick to your trading plan. The markets can get really volatile. They can be erratic. So unless you are cool, calm, collected, and emotionally orientated under pressure, you're going to do a lot of damage to your trading account, to your self-esteem. So our subconscious mind does not recognize the difference between positive and negative thoughts, right? Therefore, it can literally be reprogrammed to eliminate negative or self-limiting thoughts. Affirmations are great to help you strengthen them. Okay, but the moral of the point is, make sure your affirmations, if you're doing them, are there to help you achieve something that you truly desire, not what you think you desire. Mike.
I think the easiest way to put this is that the irony is that people think when they just speak sentences that their whole universe is going to change. They have no reinforcement behind the belief. They are literally just, I am a successful trader, and expect the universe to just, I don't even know, embody. I don't even know how that, you see how ridiculous that logic actually is. Affirmations are not just, speak words into existence, because speaking the words into the existence, and again, kind of my problem with the self-help community, and it's not that they're wrong, it's just that, again, so many people seem to be taught, I must speak affirmations, therefore my life will change. It has nothing to do with those random sentences you were speaking. It has everything to do with the actions you were taking. That's really what it comes down to. Not just saying things, but actually having follow-up towards that goal. Whether it's positive or negative is, again, irrelevant when it comes to the universe. The universe does not register things as a positive or negative. That is, again, a perception thing. So whether you're living on the street or living in the biggest mansion in the planet right now does not, mean anything to the universe. The person living in the biggest mansion in the world right now could be the most unhappy person, and the person living under a bridge right now could be the happiest person on the planet right now. Who's right and who's wrong? You see what I'm saying? It all comes down to what you, again, perceive this reality. If you say that, this is too hard, I don't know how to trade because it's too hard, Do you really understand what that is? That's an affirmation. Look at it from the other side, the affirmation of, oh, it's too hard. You are literally confirming to yourself that you have said it now as a quote unquote impossibility, meaning you're not going to achieve it because you have decided it is too hard. Therefore, it is too hard. Do you see what I'm saying? And then if you, again, it's not just positive thinking. And that's really my problem with the self-help community, is because they always try to focus on the positives, but the negatives are just as much there. We choose the negatives. And that's the issue. People think that this is like some unlocked ability. No, it's not. It's a difference in choice, because you're doing it regardless of if you choose to acknowledge it or not. That's what the law of attraction is. And that's why the law of attraction and affirmations go so well together. Guys, you are attracting right now. If you want to drink bad enough, you're going to get up, walk to the kitchen, get a cup out of the cabinet and get a drink, right? That's attracting water into your life because you have the actions to follow it up. If you're not that thirsty, you're thirsty, but you're like, well, I'm not that thirsty. You're not going to get up off the couch because you don't want it bad enough. It's a choice that is that, and that applies to literally every single thing that is happening. So don't think that, again, there is the negatives or the positives, even though there is in terms of, again, our perception, but the universe doesn't acknowledge things that way. It's all just experience. So again, also consider the fact that your vices, your addictions, the things that are holding you back are the things that you, again, are comfortable with and are purposely and deliberately choosing. An alcoholic will get drunk because, again, it is solving a problem, just like what SJ was saying. And we will continue to do that over and over. That behavior is what any human being would do. That's how we are. Human beings are flawed in that regard, to where we will naturally default to the easier path, or the path of least resistance. Just like water flowing down a mountain, it's not going to go up. It's going to take the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance, especially when it comes to everything we do, is quitting all of this because this is too hard. This is hard, guys. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. This is challenging. This is not easy. And I accept that, because what was easy was being told where to be, what days off, what to wear, what to say. It's so easy to be told what to do. And in fact, that's why we're catered to it. Our whole lives, teachers, parents, older siblings, authority, never actually, again, taking the assumption of responsibility and just always being able to pass the buck off to somebody else. Once that decision is made, and then, of course, not just the decision, more importantly, the actions that come after it, the decisions that move you towards that changed result. That's what matters.
My favorite is, I once signed up for this rookie. Don't laugh at me, you'll judge me. Exposing myself here. Like a year or two ago, I signed up for this manifesting course because I'm like, I'm going to do it. It was like this 21-day manifesting challenge. And there were people in the group and they were like, I manifested this rug. And I'm like, no, Amy, you just went to fucking Kmart and bought a rug. Like, you did not manifest this rug. You just went and bought it. And it's, oh shit, makes me laugh. It's like law of attraction. It's like, just because you say you want it, you know, you're missing the action bit. You've got to do. So in terms of, like, to sum all of that up, guys, and to shift your paradigm, because now that you understand, you know, what paradigm is, how they control you, the B do have modalities. The B do have modalities on how you are showing up as a human being, right? You then need to learn to shift that. And it's honestly not difficult. So what I want you guys to do is write all this down. Your first step, this is literally from Bob Proctor, okay? This has been imprinted in me, in my paradigm, since 2014 when I saw him speak, okay? And he literally broke it down so simple. He goes, the first step is to create the goal. And Proctor recommends having goals that are so big that you absolutely have no idea how the frig you're going to pull it off, right? But the fact is that you cannot predict when or how the goal will come, right? Because that's a limiting thing. If you this is why when we say, you know, I'm all for having time frames on, you know, chairman in a month. It's like, it's been done before, I've seen it done before, but fuck me, like, I don't know how that would be maintained. Maybe Mike can tell me that. It was some guy maybe like 3 years ago. But anyway, I digress. So think big with that goal, right? So once you've got that goal, the second step is to then determine how you must feel, how you think, and how you must act in order to have that goal, right? You must determine who you must become in order to live that, you know, life that it is that you're essentially chasing, right? But the key to understanding this step is to realize that your goal, guys, already exists. It already exists. It simply exists at a level that you cannot see, right? So when you shift your mindset and you become the person that already has the goal, you're changing your paradigm and you're moving closer to what it is that you want. And you can do that through a number of ways. One is actually working and doing the action, visualizing, I don't know, like affirmations, whatever it is, right? But lastly, you have to act consistently from the point of view that your goal is already accomplished. Okay, which is that present state. And this is the most difficult step for people because it's easy to do a sit there and fucking visualize. It's easy to meditate on it, you know, to clarify what it is and to feel good about it. But it's harder to transform that energy into a positive belief that's then going to turn into an act, right? And act from and then you need to then act from a state of certainty. And even as these circumstances around you, you know, you're getting thrown curveballs, nothing seems to match up, right? If you don't do those steps, you know, if you do those steps, I should say, that's how you change your vibrational state very quickly, moving from where you are to where you want to be. And in that shift, the shift in your paradigm will then create new experiences for you because you are thinking differently. Right? You're more aligned with what it is that you actually desire. Mikey, I'm going to hand it to you to close the call out and give your spin on how to practical ways of changing these paradigms so these guys can all implement things.
I don't know if you guys picked up on it kind of like how I did, but again, humans will naturally do what they know they can do. When she said you set goals that you don't even understand how you're going to accomplish, you want to know why? Because if you did know how to accomplish them, you would have already. You see what I'm saying? It's setting something like that forces you to evolve, to become into a different version of yourself is by, again, understanding that if I'm not there, then I must do things that are uncomfortable and go through that metamorphosis to get to a different version of me. That is, I mean, don't you guys see what I'm saying? Because if you didn't have to do that, why don't you already have it? Because if, again, you did understand how to do it, you would already be there. So the embracing of the pain and whatever you're going through and whatever circumstances are happening, imagine embracing them. Embracing the pain, as crazy as that sounds, the things that you cry about, the things that you are thinking about all day, the problems that are going on in your life, the things that you are trying to beat, those demons, they, again, are the things that once you see through those things and essentially defeat them, you are no longer weighed down, so to speak, and that you were able to quite literally vibrate higher. There's a thing that I always hear from people, and I guess you have to just kind of take my word for it, just because obviously none of you guys could corroborate this story with me, but throughout my time of doing this, of being in this entire experience over this company and being able to interact with literally so many different people, do you guys want to know something that I hear all of the time? Is that the energy or the frequency of the conversation or the way that I felt in that experience with you, Mike, was unlike anything I've ever felt before. And the thing is that it's not because of me. It's not me that created that experience. It's the energy or the frequency that I'm at, as opposed to people who, again, are potentially on a frequency that is much lower. They're in the food industry or the, just the labor industry, working 70 hours a week, and they're not happy. Relationships aren't going good, this and this and that. And there's 100 different problems that are going on. It is, again, and then staying in that cycle of it only breeds more of it. So then when people, again, potentially have a conversation with me, it's unlike anything they've ever heard before, or the way that they have felt. That's one thing that I can astoundingly tell you guys is true, is that most people tell me, Mike, you have a way of going about saying things that makes me look at it differently. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here. Please understand that. But it is the most common thing that once you have the ability to look at things from a different point of view, you therefore have the power to make different decisions, and that therefore can receive a different outcome. My whole way of doing everything I do, guys, is not trying to convince any of you of anything. It is only to get you to potentially question what you currently believe. That's it. Impose questions that challenge what people inherently believe, because if there's a problem with the belief, the human being literally, if you have legitimately identified a problem in your belief systems, you will no longer have that belief system, because the human being won't just sit there and willingly accept a lie. Willingly, we accept lies all the time, but they're lies. Willingly is not something we do. That's how the human being will be forced. You will force yourself to change. So just get to that point, guys. So that's really all I got. I mean, of course, no, it's not, but I think that's a good stopping point.
This is why I appreciate you so much and your friendship so much over the last couple of years, is because you have 100% shaped who I am in my journey.
No, not 100%.
Not 100%, but just the conversations, though, in the sense of the challenge. And this is where I think Mike can sometimes be misunderstood. I can see Mike being a misunderstood person sometimes, because not everyone wants to have these types of conversations. And this is why we love having them, is because these are the conversations that aren't had. We want to challenge your ways of thinking, challenge your ways of being, because ultimately Mike and I get nothing out of doing these calls. We don't get paid to do them. Mike wakes up at 5 a.m. to do these calls with us. We've been doing it since 2017, right? We wouldn't be doing them, one, if we didn't love them, but if they didn't matter. And the reason, like the messages that we get, always after the calls as well, it's why we do it. So these calls are important. These conversations are important. Whenever I'm like talking about Mike, I always say, I'm like, I don't know how to put Mike in a sentence. I don't know how to describe you. I'm working on it after all these years. I'll let you know. Mike in one sentence. I don't know.
You are amazing, SJ. I could say the same thing about you.
I appreciate you.
But the only reason, again, why I said that, by the way, guys, is because you can implement that as well. That's what straight line persuasion teaches you. That's what Jordan Belfort literally did in The Wolf of Wall Street. It is, no, you can never convince me of anything. I can never convince you of anything. So what I understand is that I'm not going to waste my time trying to prove you wrong and prove me right. The only thing that I'm going to do is impose questions that, if you are actually listening and not being, like how we are when we're children, what does a child do when they don't get their way? They cry, right? And they get emotional and things like that. When we evolve and become older, we understand that that's just a part of life. So being uncomfortable is deliberate. Doing these things is, again, a part of going through the transition of, again, changing these things. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. If again was comfortable, it would be in, what do we all like to call it? The comfort zone. And again, if I can't change you and you can't change me, the only thing I can do is just impose ideas. I'll give you an easy one. Do you guys think that the top Billboard 100 artists are top Billboard 100 artists because they're actually talented? Or actually, instead of me doing that one, because that's kind of two questions, do you think that metal, because I just saw what kind of music I listen to mostly metal. I've been listening to music the entire time. I usually have music playing in my ears, but why do I specifically listen to metal is because this conversation that we're having, or the type of energy, so to speak, is embedded into the metal I listen to. It's funny, even me, I used to think that metal or rock music was the devil worshiping music. It's literally quite the contrary. The top Billboard 100 artists are the ones that have signed deals, are the ones that are promoting certain ways of thinking. You guys all know, what does the Billboard artist talk about? Love, sex, heartbreak, partying,
pussy and
money.
marijuana.
Yeah, that's it, right? Do you guys think that that's actually a surprise, or is that in fact the way that the music industry is designed to operate, to keep us focused on the lowest frequency possible, which is primal and animal, and it's our sexual nature. That's they literally absolutely adhere to this sexual nature because it's so easy to be an animal. The enlightened human being understands that has to be controlled. Animals can't control themselves, right? When they have when a female goes in the heat, or just behavior is completely different. The music industry is designed to work that way. So in fact, the metal music that I listen to is actually this conversation translated into music. And that's one way that I absolutely changed my life, was I inadvertently really realized the music industry and how those frequencies affect everything. And what I have found with metal music specifically, or again, how this all kind of works to me, is that I know that someone is potentially really thinking for themselves when they are metalheads. Do you guys want to know why? Because metal is not something that you can just hear and understand. You have to listen to metal music to pick out the drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals. You're listening to 5 different things at one time. Do you know what happens when you're listening to the music industry? The top Billboard 100 artists, it is the same beat and the same things, just over and over and over. That's the difference between production music and art. The song Chandelier, Shine Bright Like a Diamond. You'll know that song, right? Rihanna. You know that song was actually made for Britney Spears, but her little group of people didn't want her to have that song, so they literally just gave it to Rihanna. Rihanna is not an artist. She is an entertainer. She is given music. Justin Bieber is given music. These people are given their hits because they will, again, continue a narrative. That's how the music industry works. So metal music, for example, is the out of that, the exact opposite of that information. So it's always kind of funny when even like with SJ, there's, one of the reasons why me and her just connect so well in general is because she's a metalhead. And again, what does being a metalhead again represent? That you can listen to one song and listen to it in 5 different ways. Again, drums, bass, your brain can interpret more information instead of just the same lyrics on the same tempo, on the same melodies, on the same everything. Because there's no difference with Britney or Rihanna or Katy Perry or Christina Aguilera or Jennifer Lopez or any of them. Since Madonna, the female pop artist is the same thing, just reproduction into something a little bit different, like Lady Gaga or Selena Gomez, or just on and on and on and on it goes. Imagine changing the music you listen to. What do you think would happen? I mean, Sorry, that has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but it's just, again, an example of changing. How do you change yourself? Change the music you listen to. Everybody, like, do you honestly, let me ask for anybody that's, still following along, do you guys not listen to metal music because you think that they're legitimately just screaming into a mic? You know how many people actually believe that, SJ? People, even I can remember a time when I used to think that the devil worshiping goth emo music or whatever, they're just screaming into the mic. Literally, people think that there is no value behind it, that they are literally screaming for no reason. And it's like, I used to think the same thing, so I can completely understand how far left everybody is when everybody's supposed to be looking right. Just think about it that way.
When I try and do screamo, I sound like the Punisher. I don't know if you've seen that show. Great show. I'm not going to do it. I do it really well. I'm not going to do it.
And it's not just metal, guys. It's try NF. If you like hip hop music, NF. Listen to NF. And then you will see, like, why is he literally not the top selling artist right now? Well, because it's not happy. Let's, mess the club up and have sex with women and dominate and money, money, money. NF talks about real things that people can connect to. NF would be, it's not metal music specifically. It's just choosing the difference between production and art. There is a difference. Art is freedom. Production is the same thing. That's it.
I think it's like with open-minded people like this, and why conversations like this are important is because we don't care to be right? We care to understand, so that there is never a right or wrong. Everything is just about an understanding. And I think that's when you can take, your need to be right. Like if you have a need to be right and you've got we're going to end the call now, Mike, anyway. So,
okay.
Yeah. We've had everyone's beautiful time enough, but yeah, let's call it quits there, guys. I appreciate you all. Mike, you're the man. Thank you for waking up.
Thank you as well. Thank you. I love y'all, for real.
It's been a great call tonight. I'll upload the recording, but thank you everyone for staying with us, and we'll be at it again next Tuesday. So if you have any topics, any questions that you want, please send them in. Send them in. Send me your feedback, your breakaways for tonight's call as well, and I can pass it on to Mike. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you all, and have a beautiful night. If you want any metal recommendations, slide in my DMs. I will oblige. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.